What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on, everybody? This whole Jussie Smollett, this whole incident that happened in 2019. Here it is, 2025. They have come out with a documentary, and we're going to talk about it. The question is this a conspiracy? We're going to get into that. Not only are we going to talk about it, my friend has joined me today, Christine, a woman of high integrity. She is a medium. She is a Reiki practitioner. She's going to introduce herself and all of this, but these are just some of the things. We actually met in a group for the medium psychic type thing maybe a couple years ago now.
Yeah, it was a couple
But
of years.
anyway, you say yeah.
Yes, it was a couple of years ago.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's been a ride. She's wonderful person. So yeah, we're gonna get into that. She's gonna do a reading on it. We're gonna get some clarity on what the hell is really going on, y'all. So make sure you like this broadcast, share it, and we are going to get into it. Christine, go ahead and tell us all that you do before we get into the nitty-gritty.
First of all, Raquel, thank you for having me on your podcast. Pleasure to be here. I'm an energy practitioner. Okay. I'm also a spiritual life coach. I specialize in ancestral healing and helping people with their transformations, with their spiritual awakening, and their challenges that they have and stepping into who they want to be. I'm also a tarot reader, oracle card reader, psychic channeler, and medium. I've been in practice probably for about 2, 3 years now. I also have a background, started off as a Reiki practitioner and reflexologist, and I have over 10 years experience doing that. So I'm
Phenomenal.
here.
What else can you say? So you guys, if you want her
Put it.
services, please contact her at how can they contact you?
They can email me, aquamoon71 at gmail.com.
There we have it. There we have it.
Yes.
So here we are today. Now, first, when I seen this whole hot ass mess, I said this has got to be some foolishness. Like that's just really what I thought because it's always so much in the United States of America. It's always some just over sensationalized drama, right?
Hmm.
But now I look at it after you. So let me tell y'all. Christine texted me like, "Have you watched it?" I'm like, "No," but now that you bringing it up, I think I should. Right? I feel like the universe was tapping me on my shoulder, and I was like, "Matter of fact, let us do it together." That's the short of the long. Of course, there was more discussion, but the short of the long.
Right,
And
right.
so, yeah, so this documentary was much needed because I think it really highlights some corruption.
Yeah. It
But
does. And
yeah.
Raquel, you're a sleuth that
You said what? Uh-oh, what happened? What happened? I hope it didn't. Did it kick you out? Uh-oh. Y'all stay with us. This is how I know stuff. When we have technical difficulties like this is how I know it's going to be good.
oh my goodness, I dropped out.
Okay, you back. You back.
Okay, okay. Yeah, difficulties.
So what were you saying again?
I was saying, I know you have an interest in, solving, case crimes, right? And then
Yes.
finding out the energetic component of it all, right? What's happening in the spiritual realm of it, the implications of it, because it's always so much bigger than what it actually is presented as, right? And so
Yes.
to dig deeper and to use the tarot or to use energy work or psychic digging, it adds another layer to it. In this case, is so interesting because we're told one way of looking at things, and they're presenting all these as quote unquote facts, right? But there's
Right.
always somebody behind the scenes who sees something differently and who has the ability and the I want to say kahunas to step up, right, and present something differently. And there was a few people in this case on this documentary who came forward. So it makes you look at things from all angles and different perspectives, and not just what we're told by those in charge that it happened this way. And so with this case, I said, Racquel, you gotta watch it. Let me know what you think, and we can dive into it. Using the tarot and using just channeling into it. To get those layers brought up to see what really is going on here.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah,
I was thinking that so when police officers, I do believe, have a level of intuitive nature at play. I
yeah,
do believe that. But at the same time, there is corruption. There
mhm,
are surface level thinkers. There
mhm,
are people that just want to get the case off when you've got, you've got the attorneys and judges. And I
mhm.
want to say this before we go any further. I want to make sure you guys know this is for entertainment purposes, and all things are alleged. In some cases, I will be playing what they would call the devil's advocate, which is kind of, using the word devil may scare some people away, but you know what I mean, or choosing the opposing view,
Yeah, that you
or
look
you know
at.
what I'm saying, like discussing that, what people think.
Yeah.
But this is all alleged, it's all for entertainment purposes. So please keep your drawers on. Don't get upset, and fly off the handle. Okay. So I do want to say that. Matter of fact, let me even put that disclaimer up because we just got so many people that just act a fool out here. So I just want to put that. All right. That's up there. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Um, so it's a lot of levels here and a lot of layers. You've got people with that left brain thinking, the or is that the left brain? The logical side. Because I
Mhm.
think the right is the masculine, the left is the feminine.
Correct.
Uh,
Right. Right.
right. But what I mean to say is you got people that think surface level, and then you got people that use their intuition. And
Mhm.
it's all type of different people in within this case.
De-
So that's what makes it interesting.
Definitely, definitely so. And I think what makes it more, I want to say, mysterious is that because you do have people using different, coming from different angles, using different information, using their what they consider their facts, right?
Right.
And the bottom line is to get to the truth, to find out what's factual and what is not. And so this case, uh, it perplexed me because there's so many layers to it and so many players to it, right?
Yeah.
And it's not an open and shut case like we all thought. Initially, it was just a horrific, incident to this young brother, great actor, and
Yeah.
magician. I want to say magician, excuse me, musician. Jussie
The
Smollett, excuse me, no pun intended.
reason you said magician, though, it might be he might have some
And
gifts of his own.
yeah, 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 yeah. And it's just like, it was about to our attention at the time. It was before COVID. There was a lot of stuff going on in Chicago, a lot of racial, trauma and drama going on, as such as in a lot of urban cities. And so this got, brought to my attention, everybody else, because I like the show Empire, I liked his character, and I was just like, what? How could this happen?
Oh, shit.
And so when this documentary came out, I'm just like, okay, let's see what this is about. Is this anything that's new and developing? And so that's when I reached out to Racquel, said, let's go. What you think, girl? Let's hit it. Let's break this down.
And you know what? Another thing too, though. Listen to let's break this down. So I got and watched and took my notes. And another thing I thought about was there's people in this case, back to the surface, thinking that are probably like pawns, right? They don't even realize that they're in the mess. They're just going off of what they know to go off of. So with that being said, so this let's see. So the perps, he goes out. Okay, so he goes out 2 a.m. He goes gets his Subway sandwich. He's attacked by two white men. This is what he says. The story never changes. They put a noose on his neck. They what did they say to him? They said this is MAGA country. They called him a fag, I believe. No
Mhm.
offense.
Mhm.
And a fag nigga and all this explicit stuff. Um, then his what is it, creative director is the one who called saying he didn't want, and when I say he, I'm saying Jussie didn't want to make a big deal about it. So he's calling the police. You need to check this out.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna lie to y'all. When I seen him usher him into the condominium, and you see Jussie with that noose, I don't know. Maybe this was ridiculous, but I did laugh because and it's not a funny situation. It looked crazy. That's
It,
all.
it, it was it was bizarre, right? It was just
Yeah.
bizarre. It was shocking. You didn't know what to believe. It was just, I'm gonna say, unusual in the nature of how it unfolded. I'll just put it like that.
Yes, and because of that, because it's so dramatic, like the things that was used, the words that were used, and the this news, because he wasn't hung, thank goodness, right?
Right,
Thank the
right.
divine. It was
No,
just put around his neck, and so it that instantly makes me feel like this is some bullshit from the powers that were type of thing. That's how, I mean, because they do this dramatic stuff that's going to shock the public, it's going to paralyze their thinking and get them all in their emotions. But when you look at it very closely, you realize the holes and you realize how crazy it be looking like. What is this really about? You know what I mean? Type of thing.
definitely, and it gets you to notice, and it wakes you up, right? And it sends a
Yeah.
message. You know, well, thank goodness they didn't tighten it around them and strangle. You know, none of that happened. But nooses are, symbology to send a message of, regardless hatred. You know, and we all know the Southern stories with the noose. You know, many Black people were hung, uh,
Yes.
and that was used as a scare tactic, as a very dark and evil, tactic against Black people. So that
Yes.
was definitely, and that's how they said it was racially motivated. For one, the language that it used, in calling Jesse those names, and also the news sent a message, definitely a message.
Yes, for sure. And I
Yeah.
also wonder if it's political because it was disclosed in the documentary that his mother was part of the Black Panther Party, right?
Mm. Yes.
So, what better to disgrace this party by using a black man who was also gay,
Hmm.
and then he's employed by Fox as a individual with a bachelor's degree in mass communications public relations. One thing I do know is Fox is very biased and they're big on propaganda, allegedly, and he happens to work for that network. So it just, I don't know, it seems very interesting. These are just things that I'm thinking about, right?
Right. Right. Right.
So he was teased about the sandwich. He was teased at the fact that, I don't know about nobody. There's no way you would just roll up that noose like it was a prop, right? They were saying he was rolling it up like a prop. So they're analyzing stuff. At the end of the day,
Well, yeah, they said that he kept it on. Yeah.
yeah, he kept it on, right?
Right.
But
He wanted to show the police. You know.
right. All of this stuff is circumstantial and everybody's not the same. People react differently. So I get it, right? How you would assume a person would act, but I'm gonna tell you, I gave him a pass on that sandwich because I'm like, shit, fuck it. He paid for it. He went out in a polar vortex to get that bitch. I would have got it too, and I'm eating it. Flat out. You know what I'm saying? The polar vortex? Fuck
Yeah.
hell yeah, I'm taking my sandwich with me. He was still alive. He was fighting back. So he probably gathered himself. Don't mean he wasn't shaking or nothing, but he got his sandwich.
Right,
Stabbed
right.
it.
He did. He did. The sandwich was intact. Yes, it was.
Yes, and they
Yeah.
were. Oh, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just saying. The goal was that he was going out. He was hungry. He got something to eat. You know what I mean? Going to Subway, and there was other people there in the restaurant as well. So he wasn't there by himself. Um, because they pulled all that camera footage as well. They traced his steps. But coming out and then the way he was attacked, that's just what was so alarming to me, you know, because he
Yeah.
was in a neighborhood. It was very upper class. It was a very bougie neighborhood. And usually, you don't get incidents like that in those type of neighborhoods. So it was just a lot of interesting developments, in his
Yeah.
story. So
And then it's like they start off with the hate empire. It makes you wonder, like,
how did they know who he was?
yes, like who's out waiting to attack somebody in a polar vortex? It just seems like to me, I don't know. And I'm not saying again, these are just thoughts that we're throwing at the wall,
Yeah,
but it just seems like this had to be some kind of setup.
yeah,
Because who the hell's just hanging around in the cold to cause trouble?
exactly, exactly. And the way how it developed, they knew who he was, and just the things that was said. So it just dumbfounded me. It's just like how does everything just developed, in this case. So
Yeah.
it's perplexing. I saw it yesterday, and I'm just still like, wow, you know. It
Man,
left
my
me
auntie
with
was
more
drunk.
questions than answers, of course, which was what I think this documentary was set up to do in this
Yes.
in this case. So it's
Causing
definitely not an
this.
open and shut case at all. Again, it leaves you with more questions than answers, And so I'm interested in breaking this down and see what comes out.
Yeah. We're going to get to it. So we're going to hurry up and summarize it as quickly as possible. So they were over it because Jussie would not cooperate. They felt he was trying to hide something by not releasing his phone records. He was saying he didn't want to reveal that he had drug use. Then the brothers come into play. This is what everybody was talking about. That was going crazy on the internet, and the brothers came into view because they were checking the camera footage, and then they began to see who was out riding around at that hour, and it was suspicious when they seen them switch cars from the ride share to the taxi. So then they wanted to go pull the records on that, and that's how the boys got into it, the brothers. And the brothers happened to be extras on Empire, and one of them, the trainer, was actually friends with Jussie.
Yes. He was also his trainer, his physical trainer.
Right.
Right. Yes.
So then the trainer goes on to say that
Gets more interesting.
you say what?
I said this is where it gets more interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah. 4 days before this whole hookup, Jussie calls him like, "Hey, I need a favor," and he rolls up on them at the Empire hookup, Empire location, right where they shoot the show. Hands him this what looks to be like a ransom style note, threatening his life. And he says, he goes on to say, Jussie asked him to basically let's film this fight of you beating me up, so he could present it to Fox because Fox didn't take the note serious. Now, the thing about this is when their house, the brothers were raided, they found all type of guns and different things. But the trainer goes on to say that Jussie cut him a check for $3,500. They show you a check on there for the whole staging. So he felt like it was just some Hollywood stuff. This is what they do.
Mhm.
Use a
Mhm.
little wind or whatever.
Right.
Okay. Jussie said he wanted something that couldn't is not legal here, but it comes from Nigeria and it would get rid of his belly fat.
Right.
Now, the first thing that came to my mind is if it's not legal here and they bringing it, they don't want that smoke of trying to bring over illegal substance. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that might be, it's not legal here. So
Right.
here they come with the lie, but also the shit with the raid. What were you thinking?
I was thinking it just didn't add up, you know? It didn't. And the tracks were not covered. I thought it was sloppy. Really. The whole thing, it wasn't thought out all the way. It was just willy-nilly kind of action here. Jesse knew the brother or both of the brothers from the set. He was
Yeah,
friends with them. Allegedly, he asked them to do them a favor to beat him up. And here's $3,500. Supposedly, they didn't really say what was on the check, but Jesse explained that it was for that belly fat drug. Which I thought he was in shape. So I don't know if they used that or not. I never heard it. But anyway, it was just suspicious. One thing led to another. Of course, they're going to investigate the brothers because they were suspects, prime suspects at that point.
yeah,
Okay. And they arrested him straight off the plane coming back from Nigeria. Because soon after the incident happened, they took off and went to the motherland. They came back, they arrested him on the spot. They didn't remember they refused to talk for a couple of
yep,
days, right? And they let him
sure
go,
did.
right? And then they decided to get counsel, you
They
know.
did.
Yep. And then that's when the police moved in and their place was raided. And they discovered what drugs and guns and all this other stuff, you know. And then you look them up, and then what happened? They looked deeper into their backgrounds, and one of them had some. What was it? Was it attempted murder? Uh, and then he got off, and it was just aggravated assault. And so they found out that he beat somebody before. I don't know but it was something alleged to that. And then eventually they bought him, to Jesse, the pictures. Like, look, this is the guys who, was in the area who, uh, these other suspects, the culprits, look at their pictures. And Jesse recognized them who they were and said, no, these are not the two. These are not the people that assaulted me.
Mhm.
He was adamant. Like, no, they couldn't have. I know these brothers. No,
Right.
and so that was perplexing. I was just like, but it was some type of connection there. I just couldn't put my finger on. Um, that made sense that he would, hire them to do that. And the question was why. You know, what did he have to gain?
Right. Exactly.
What did he have
It's
to gain?
gonna hire them and then
Right,
say
right.
it. I mean, even with show business, I might be going off the deep end with this, but even with him being in the field that he is, he knows that people are going to be paying attention,
Oh yeah,
right? They're going to be paying attention. So it's just like, why would he do something that fucking stupid?
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna hire these two brothers, and then I'm gonna say it's white people. It's just no, that's stupid. Um, so charges were dropped because he forfeited his what do you call it, his bail, and was a good citizen.
Hmm.
But and then he followed up with like the speech of activism, and then that ignited a whole nother outrage with the police department and all that stuff, right?
Hmm.
So, you go on to see that in the courtroom after he was charged, he went away yelling that he is not suicidal. And this is what led me to believe that this was some kind of ritual because he's yelling, I am not suicidal. I'm not suicidal. Remember, he did get a death threat note. What is this really about?
Exactly. Exactly.
Have you noticed, Christine, like every time that an actor says, like, they'll say stuff like, um, if you see me, they'll give you warnings, different things about what may happen to them or something like that because there's something else going on. And that's what I thought about, like when he said, "I'm not suicidal." Like,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll tell you, like, if I end up dead in jail, you've
Right.
heard this from other celebrities. I
Right.
did not kill myself. So when
Right.
he said that, that instantly brought me to, is this some kind of ritual?
Mm. Well, that adds another layer to it,
That
possibly.
adds another layer, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. It does.
Because we know, like, once you get, he was popular, to your point that you said earlier, good actor.
Yeah, he was a good
Once you
actor.
get to a certain point, they want to put you in, allegedly, they want to put you in the the group, the boule, the Illuminati, the cult, whatever you want to call it, right? So what if this was some type of ritual that he was involuntarily in?
Mm.
That might be a question too, low key.
Yeah, that might be. That might be. That adds definitely another layer. That goes deeper.
And
That
it's
goes.
going to be hard for the public to take him serious because he is an actor. So they know he can cry on demand and stuff like that.
Mhm. Mhm. That's true as well. That's true as well. Huh.
What did you think when he was yelling that he's not suicidal?
Well, that definitely was a watch call, right?
Right.
And I say that because if he was in jail and something happened to him, what I mean, they was trying to like shut him up, you know what I mean, and they would take him out purposely, and that would be the reasoning, that he committed suicide. That's what I
Sure.
think. That would have been it.
That would have been there.
That would have been it. They were like, well, he committed suicide because, probably because he was guilty or this and that, and yeah, that's the MO. That's one of the MO that unfortunately can happen. When
You
you're involved in
also,
cases with higher ups and things of that nature. So we know that because we know cases like that in the media with other celebrities or high profile cases that people are automatically kind of, I want to say shut up permanently, but you know,
allegedly, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's sad. It's sad.
And from a spiritual perspective, like before all of this silencing of different people and stuff like that, removing of them, they would get away. But now we're in the time of the reveal. And what was really brought to my attention is how he had, was it two different white people come and
Hmm.
assist with this case. Not even black, white. Now there was a black man that testified with the flashlight. He was like a guard or something. He went
Hmm.
and flashed a light on what he saw was a white man, but they cut like 10 seconds of video out.
Yeah.
That was suspicious. That was definitely a red flag. I said, "Oh, okay, this is some bullshit. I don't even need to see nothing else. I already know what's going on. They
Hmm.
didn't cut out footage. What we talking about?"
Very mysterious, and it never reappeared, did it?
Never reappeared. They wouldn't get it, even after she filed for Freedom of Information Act.
Hmm.
And there was a white, and I'm saying this for a reason, there was a white woman. And this is why I believe this was the spirit coming in, correcting this form of, I don't want to say witchcraft, because people see witchcraft as a blanket, like all of it's bad. But this whole ploy is like coming in like, no, you're not gonna do this. We're gonna clear this up. Spirit was coming in to clear this up. A white woman was going out to walk her dogs, and she said she saw a white man with a mask. She said that.
Mhm.
And both these people ignored. The black guy was brought into the precinct and he told his account and they showed him all pictures of black men, discarded what he was talking about and wanted him to pick out of the black men.
Correct. Right.
Craziness.
Right. 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 Yeah, the lady apparently she lived in this building and she knew of him. She didn't know him personally, but she knew of him, seen him around. You
Mhm.
know, she was out walking her dog in the wee hours of the morning. And she said because she was out by herself, that when she spotted the man, she purposely kept her eye on him, for her safety, right? And then,
Yep.
yeah, she did notice that he had a mask and what looks like a rope was sticking out his back pocket or out of his jacket, which she thought was odd. And that was the version of the story that she told. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But what was interesting, though, they disregarded that. They never brought her in and did any further investigation. It was just glossed over. You know,
Yes.
it was just glossed over, like it did. Like that part wasn't important because it didn't go with the bigger picture.
Of
So,
course, of what they wanted to the narrative they wanted to sell, and then
uh,
also I also kind of believe that this was divine intervention. The mere fact, who in the hell is? She said she was out like 12. She seen Jesse around 12:30 or 12:45, or did she say she went out to walk the dogs at 12:30 to 12:45? I think she said she seen him in the elevator or some shit like that at
mm,
12:30, 12:45. But at
mm,
any rate, who's out in the morning,
yeah,
walking their dogs in the fucking polar vortex.
right, right, right,
You see
right.
what I'm saying? Unless it be divinely guided for her to see that guy at the fucking corner.
Exactly,
That's
exactly.
how I'm looking at it.
Right, right. And not only for that, for her to speak up and report that too, because she could have said nothing, right?
Yes.
Right.
She could
And,
have said
and so,
nothing.
yeah, I do believe that things were divinely timed. So, yeah,
Mhm.
that again, that adds another perspective in this case. You know, things that they left out. So that's why going back to documentary, I was like, well, what's going to be new besides what they already told us, right? And
Right.
then when this adds another a layer to it, a nuance to it, I was like, wait a minute. Let's look at this. Or why aren't they looking at this more in depth? Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And she seemed very credible, matter of fact, like, this is what I saw. This is what I observed. And I'm going to tell, my part. And I'm glad she did.
Very, very sincere. And then they popped up with the video footage, and I'm sure you saw it as well as I saw it. There was definitely when it came to the color part of the footage, it was definitely two white males that walked past that red car.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, one was kind of burly, wearing a ski mask. Yep, and one was right behind him, a little smaller guy.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
But it goes to show you that despite what the evidence presents, once something is told to the public so many times, and this is how you know um, word magic is a thing, right? Just repetition can rock people to sleep.
Right.
Despite what they see, they believe what they hear,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So now you got the two ladies helping. So they discover, okay, so the 38 detectives on the case had a combined 563 misconduct allegations filed against them, including shooting people, selling drugs, and more. Okay. They had footage of one of the police officers shooting a young man. Was it like 16 times? Something ridiculous.
Mhm.
After he was already on the ground. They've got video footage that corroborated the guy's testimony seeming to be tampered with. Officers were deleting video footage from a Burger King in another case.
Mhm.
And also, the brother's DNA was not found on the news.
Right.
See, it's stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that doesn't negate the fact that you have people that are just corruptible, you know, and not surprising in the police department or any other higher up departments or just anybody really, once you start digging and they know to cover stuff up, right? Because it's
Right.
work, right? It's a brotherhood, and so for this case to be brought out in this way, and a lot of police officers, people involved in the case, got a lot of shady stuff in the past background. It doesn't surprise me, unfortunately.
It doesn't surprise me, but what I okay, so when I hear Chicago, like Detroit, I don't know their population. I don't. But like Detroit, this is a city where we know it has a black population. When I hear Detroit, I think black. When I hear Chicago, I think black.
Hmm.
Um, what I don't understand, what trips me up is like, okay, I see them covering their own tracks, right? With the police officer shooting and the other ignorant ass police officer that's in charge that's still just holding on to these lies, right? He was found asleep. I see them covering their behinds and covering the police department. But you're covering people that aren't part of the police department, which could be though. When you think, I don't know, it make you wonder. I don't know. So who knows what's really going on? But would the motive just be to? I mean, because the man in charge is black. So what vested interest would he have covering for these white people that supposedly he doesn't know any fucking way? Why make this a black on black type of thing and this guy is a liar?
Hmm. That's
This
true.
further makes me think this is a conspiracy.
That's true. A lot of things are always hidden behind the scenes. You never know how people are connected. You never know what stories or what facts they have on people. You know, and so you go along to get along. It's about covering your bases, right? Covering your ass.
Yeah.
You know. So it was just surprising. It's just like, well, wow, 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 wow. And I think that police chief, he was fired 2 months before he was to retire, or something like that, right?
Yeah. Yep. And I feel like that was a divine thing too. I feel like that was retribution
So you're
because
not
you over
getting
there
no
cooning.
benefits, no pension. I'm just like, what? 2 months before he's retired, he out. It's like what? I was like, damn,
Yeah.
couldn't hold on for I don't
Yeah, I did kind of. I will. I'm not gonna lie though. I did kind of be like, well, I mean, he had 2 months. They could have just let him retire.
that's
You
what
know
I
what I'm
thought too.
saying?
I'm just like, wow, wow, okay,
Yeah. So again,
yeah.
I think that was some type of divine thing. Now, what really got on my damn nerves? Didn't you see? Was he like on some kind of red carpet, or was it just like of some type of production? Anyway, the brothers with another guy, and he was like, I can just hire them to beat somebody up, and they just going on with this story, like they just riding this and with different press thing. I just what
Well,
is going on,
that's their 2 minutes of fame, right? And they were
girl?
actors, they wanted to be up and coming. And so, they do what some do to get
Where
into that.
integrity is everything.
Yeah. And so they were just taking it in stride. They were celebrities of the moment and stars, and they were eating it up.
And we ain't heard
You
nothing
can
from the
see they
brothers.
quite enjoyed that.
But
You know,
where they at? Punk ass at now. So like, and I know this is the worst time to bring up Dr. Umar because they on hot on his motherfucking ass. However, he would have called them straight Africoons.
oh Lord.
Oh Lord, but that's just a little jokey joke. Y'all don't get pissed off. Y'all know how y'all do. Somebody's ass is burning right now, itching or something. Anywho, so yeah. I just feel like everyone had a vested interest for whatever reason to hold on to their lives. Them brothers did because they didn't want, that record. They didn't want no smoke. But I do feel like they overdid it with all that extra press run that they were doing.
Mm,
But I think we pretty much summed that up. We can get to the reading now.
sure. Okay.
It's about to be good, y'all.
So I'm gonna start off reading the tarot deck. And before went live, I was telling Racquel I had some questions that I wanted to preliminary to start off with and asking spirit the cards. Is Jussie Smollett, is he telling the truth regarding his assault and battery? Right.
Mm.
All right. So let's see. Let's say spirit for guidance and protection as we ask a question of Jussie Smollett. Is he telling the truth regarding his assault and battery? Let's see. Thank you, Spirit. Woo! Ten of Swords, first card out. Now, for me, the Ten of Swords represents betrayal. It represents being stabbed in the back. That's the actual visual on the card, usually of the Ten of Swords. This represents exhaustion. This represents not seeing what's in front of you. Okay. This can seem like actually I'm gonna say a conspiracy, but it's just something that was that happened, unfortunately, that was over and done. And this card depicts a character laying on the ground with 10 swords punctured in his back. Okay. And as we know, Jesse was beaten up and he was kicked in the back. He was kicked, pulled down to the ground and beaten. Okay.
Mhm.
Next card I got is the Knight of Wands. So this happened very quickly. The Knight of Wands talks about a fast energy. Okay. This is an action card. This is something that happens to somebody. So this card represents that something happened very quickly. This was his assault. Happened in and out. Eight of Wands. This is about communication. This is about, again, action. Let me get all these cards out, Chad. Hold on. Divine timing. Temperance. Five of Swords. Somebody getting up on somebody. Six of Swords. Moving on to common waters. Five of Pentacles. Being left out in the cold. Two of Swords. Decision need to be made. And Ten of Wands, bottom of the deck. This talks about heavy burdens, carrying a lot. And dwell deeper into these cards. Let me clarify Five of Swords, please, Spirit. Five of Swords clarified with the Strength card. The Strength card talks about resilience. What I'm getting is that he had the strength, of course, to come forward to speak his truth. But it's something with the Five of Swords, Racquel, and I don't know how you interpret it as well. But it's kind of like a one-up energy. It's like a game, right? It's
Yes.
like you do this in order to, it's like to get over on somebody. You know what I mean? It's a game. Somebody wins and somebody loses.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-mm.
Hold on here. Now, I want to say this was a decision, feeling like being left out in the cold. And the Five of Pentacles can depict money. Okay.
Mhm.
And the Two of Swords, the last card in the spread, like making that decision, like should he do something or not? And definitely with the temperance, all in divine timing, and the Queen of Pentacles also depict behind the Ten of uh, Wands. This is about a nurturing energy. This is about, and I want to say in this case here, it's about money recognition thing.
Mm.
So going back to the original question, is he telling the truth regarding his assault and battery? Now, yes, he is. He's telling the truth. Okay,
Mhm.
it did happen. It happened very quickly. Things took off. Temperance cards talks about divine timing. Okay, now keyword timing. Okay,
Mhm.
the Five of Swords, getting over. Having the strength and having the courage to do this. Moving on to thinking is moving on to calmer waters, being left out in the cold, and this Two of Swords making that decision in his head to do so and to do this. So yes, technically, is he telling the truth? Yeah, he's telling the truth. He was assaulted, definitely. Let's go on to the next question I had. Was this a setup?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Did you have anything to add on that spread, or wanted me to go a little deeper?
Mm-mm. Because I know how you know what to do. You follow your
Okay.
intuition very well. So I'm letting you flow.
Okay. Okay. But definitely the cards tell. Is it telling you? Yeah, it happened. Okay. Next question. Was this a setup? Spirit, was this a setup? Please. Rest of the cards. Was Jussie Smollett's assault and battery a setup? Queen of Pentacles again. Money. Eight of Swords. Page of Wands.
Mm.
It's interesting because the Eight of Swords, in a Rider Waite deck, it depicts somebody who has their hands tied up, right?
Mhm.
With a blindfold on, feeling like they can't move, like they're a victim.
Mhm. That's how his face was looking too.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah, this is a setup involving money. And the Page of Wands talks about a new beginning, something that's exciting. Like it was going to be like a new endeavor, right? It was
Mhm.
going to lead to something more creative. This is going to lead to another adventure. I'll say that for him. Next question. So, set up by who? Why was this orchestrated, Racquel? Let's see.
Mm-mm-mm.
Why was this orchestrated? So it's interesting. I wish I could show the cards because the Nine of Wands come up, and this is a man that's standing, that's been beaten up. That's defending himself, like he's been through the ringer, right?
Mhm.
This is the Wounded Warrior card. Okay, so that's depicting Jesse as well. Okay,
Okay.
and so then the Three of Wands talks about what's on the horizon, the future. It talks about this picture. Three of Wands has an airplane. Talks about travel, and again, he got the Ace of Wands. So there was something that was really igniting all of this. It was definitely something to gain. This was something that was planned. The possibilities were to grow and expand and get more money. I would say more fame. Yeah, and a lot more attention too. But why was this set up though? Oh, it's a lot of fire too.
Mm.
It's a lot of fire. And it's that you got the Page of Wands, Nine of Wands, Three of Wands, and you got the Ace of Wands. Well, how was this a setup? So by home. All right, we got Judgment, more fire.
Mm.
And then we talking about things coming out, coming to pass now. This Judgment. Things must burn in order to rise. And then you got the Four of Wands. So this talks about celebration and victory. Okay, this talks about collaboration. This talks about being seen. This talks about a marriage of some sort coming together. And this was planned. This was definitely planned with the Two of Wands.
Okay.
Definitely. Yep.
So you feel he planned it, or somebody else planned it?
I see Jussie at the helm of it. And
Okay.
I think things went haywire.
Mm.
Things went haywire, you know. I don't think it was meant to get this much attention and go as far as it has, you know. Again, he had some motivation and what he wanted to expand on his career. You know, you got players involved here, a lot of fast moving energy with a lot of wands. This is about passion. This is about creation. This is about taking charge and pulling things into your life. It's about manifestation. But at the end of the day, when things crash and burn in Judgment Day, the truth comes to light. Okay. So this is something that definitely got away from him and it snowballed. It snowballed.
So do you think, and I'm just snowballing here, but do you think possibly this was supposed to be a social media stunt and maybe somebody else heard it and was like, "Oh no, we really gonna get him?" Like he was taken by surprise and it became something more than what he planned. Like he might have had a plan,
Uh
but then
huh.
there was an interception,
Yeah.
you know. I don't know if somebody at the station heard it and said, "We gonna get him," or whatever, and he was caught off guard. Because he's very adamant about not being guilty.
Well, yeah, you stick with the story. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I know I would. Shit.
You stick
I
with
ain't
your
no
story.
liar though,
The
but
story pretty much hadn't changed. Got
yeah.
the Three of Wands again. Yeah. Plan to get out of Dodge. This is a planning card. Hermit. Something in the background. It was quietly planned. Page of Swords. Somebody watching, learning. Uh oh. And the King of Swords here. Somebody in charge. You know, that King of Swords energy, right?
Yeah.
An authority figure. This is somebody who thinks more logically, methodically, not too emotional. This is somebody who calls the shots. And I would say somebody is watching. Five of Wands. Yeah, a lot of confusion, which they did with this case. They threw everybody in a loop. Seven of Wands. This talks about protection. This talks about guarding. This talks about fighting off. This could be people and this could be media. And then the Nine of Cups talks about contentment, like mission accomplished, satisfied that this happened. Four of Wands, I'm sorry, Four of Pentacles, holding on to the truth with the Queen of Swords.
Hmm.
Who's this Queen of Swords spirit? Somebody can't sleep at night. And then you got the Magician energy. Okay, so the Magician, it talks about having the tools to, I want to say manipulate, but kind of insinuate or manifest what you want to happen, right? So this is like player energy kind of behind the scenes. Okay.
Now you did call him a magician. You remember that?
That was a Floridian slip.
Mm.
But again, you have an idea on how you want something to go. Okay. Players involved, and then it just snowball. The script gets rewritten. Okay. And then from there it gets bigger and bigger. Yeah, this person, very hard time sleeping, is Queen of Swords energy.
Mm.
Let me go further with the Magician. What do you think?
I think I'm feeling the type of way.
Mhm.
We rooting for you, Jussie. I don't know. This is deep.
Magician. This being a magician.
I can
Knight of
hardly walk.
Pentacles clarifying a magician. So this is the slowest moving knight in the deck. It moves with planning.
Mhm,
Again, let's say plan. The Four of Cups. Something left out. And
mhm,
a Ten of Cups. It didn't really result in this Ten of Cups energy. It didn't result so much in how he had planned, to run away with the riches, to run away with his goals, to run away with his dreams, the way that he expected it to. It didn't go as planned, basically.
mm.
Yeah, he had big dreams, big dreams, big dreams. Like I say, very talented brother. I don't know, you know, but it was a lot of moving parts, in this. And then once you involve corruption, you get a lot of cover up.
Yeah.
You get a lot of cover up. What was the other question you had? Was Fox Studio involved, or let me
Yeah.
see. All right, that could have been that King of Swords energy. That could have been there. That's the power at B. That's the heavy masculine. King's energy is somebody who has a master over communication, a master over thoughts, a master over planning. Right, very methodical. Yeah, like control, likes boundaries. Can talk very, I want to say maliciously or matter of factly, very succinctly. They don't really have a lot of emotion. It's just what it is. They're very cutthroat in their communication, very cutthroat in their thinking and their thoughts. They're calling the shots. This is a king over the source energy.
Mm.
Uh, yeah. Okay. Well, the devil. Okay.
Mm.
The devil is shadow. It's about what keeps us stuck, what keeps us in these patterns that we're kind of not learning lessons. So the devil is more of a darker energy. It's just about addictions. It's about control. It's just about vices. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. And then you have the Empress, which is a nurturing energy. And it's the Four of Wands comes up again.
Mm.
So it's like somebody had their eye over, I would say, coming together and merging, like the Four of Pentacles again with the
Okay.
Page of Pentacles. Yeah. So it's like emerging together, being all as one on the same page. Like everybody's going to get something out of this. Okay.
Okay.
A lot of power and a lot of control. Um, Everybody stood to gain something, and they thought it was going to be easy with the Empress energy. Things were just going to come in, right? It was going to flow, and somebody was holding on to the control with the Four of Pentacles. And then with the Page of Pentacles, this is somebody who's looking at something to grow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like it was a lot of players in here, and everybody had something to gain, you know, from the story from the very beginning. Okay. Now, I would tell you, yes, there was a lot of greed in it as well. Somebody didn't play their part.
Mm-mm.
They didn't. I think somebody went the opposite way. Yeah. And so this was not a celebratory a story. Everybody didn't get what they wanted. Everybody didn't get uh, what they had planned. You know, people come to the table in the beginning. Okay, this is gonna happen. You're gonna get this. You're gonna do da. No, no. It was, the devil was in the plans. You know, and things went haywire. Things with haywire.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
So were the brothers lying when they said he asked them to beat him up?
Let's see. All right, Spirit with the brothers lying. Ask me to bring them up. All right, one more. The brothers lying. Jesse asked them to beat him up. Two of Cups. Nope. Nope. Nope.
Ooh.
Nope. You know the Two of Cups is about seeing eye to eye, right?
Mhm.
This is about give and take. This is about love. This is about connecting. This is about being on the same page. This is about balance. Nope. So they were not.
Wow.
They were not. You know, they saw money exchange. You know, they actually really liked Jesse, and he
Yeah.
liked them. You know, they had good friendship. They were on the same page. You know, so no, they were doing to give him a favor. They were doing a favor for him, and they were happy to do so. They were enamored. He was an actor. He was a great. You know, they saw him as, but they had him on a pedestal.
Yep. Sure
Yeah,
did, and that's how they were explaining it too. And that
yeah,
he's gonna help us out. We'll do it. Remember?
yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. They sure were. They obliged. They were really happy. You know, again, a prominent actor like Jussie Smollett, you know, would come to him for a favor, you know, and I'm sure they had stars in their eyes, like, okay, what's going to be the next role? They saw this like as an acting role too, right? This is what they
Yeah.
do in Hollywood. This is going to get us, you know, to our next big thing. You know, this is going to get us in the in crowd. So they were very happy to oblige. Yeah.
So how did the white men come into play?
Okay. That's a good question.
That's where I think it took a left turn.
Yeah, it did. Hold on just a second. Let me get my cards back together. All right. This is for entertainment purposes, y'all. Disclaimer on here. All right. So, how did the two white men come into this picture? Spirit. Ace of Wands. Somebody had an idea. Somebody had a spark. It was an offering. Okay. This was a new beginning. This was an attraction. Somebody had a creative idea to start something. Death card. This talks about rebirth and transformation. Kind of
Hmm.
getting maybe the story had. This is where the story took this turn here. The introduced them here into the story. Yeah,
Hmm.
and then the Six of Swords. Yeah, moving on into calmer waters with this. So they were interjected too here. These two guys. It was like, okay, let's spin the story this way now. Okay,
Okay.
let's say this. Okay, now you know what I mean. So this is how they came on the scene. This is how it got spun here. This is how it came on the scene. Somebody had a bright idea. Hey, let's intervene these two characters here, you know. And with the death card, that talks about a dismantling of something, right? In order for something new to happen. So it's like, let's change that script. This is the new one. And with this new one, with the Six of Swords, this is going to calm the waters, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get out of this. This is about moving on to calmer waters, you know, after all this turbulence. So this plan was hatched to do this.
Anytime the words used, the news and all that overkill. Like I said, there's racism, but I just feel like if a
Well, you know what?
Caucasian, huh?
You know, it was already racially charged, so it's easy to believe, right? You enter in this story, right? You know,
Yeah,
the whole thing with MAGA and all that stuff. You know, it was just easy. You know, the energy was ripe. You know,
yeah, it was.
to do that. Yeah, 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 yeah. And so
Cause
that was that. This became the storyline now. Somebody's bright idea. You know what? Scratch this one, the brothers. This is what's happening now. Boom. This is the story now.
it's
Yeah,
crazy work. I
yeah,
definitely a red flag went up when he didn't want to share his phone.
yeah, yeah. And this is the Empress energy again. This is the second or third time the Empress come up. And Empress, you know, is about feminine energy. This is about attraction, right? This is about
Yeah,
making things easier, you know. So this is about smoothing it out, right? And so everybody will get something out of it, you know, and coax. I don't know who's the head of Vice, but this is definitely a feminine energy for the outcome here.
and Fox did use their attorney team. It's not like he hired his own; they used theirs.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I find that to be interesting too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is made for Hollywood. This is
yeah,
you know how they say what's the word, how life emulates art or art emulates life? It's like this, you know? Yeah. And it's unfortunate again. It was never meant to spin out of control like this, you know?
you got to be careful, especially around that time. I mean, we were really getting into the exposure energy.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful with all this foolishness because you're going to be exposed.
Mhm.
You know, 10-10.
And now
All
you
right,
okay, now you got the cleanup crew. 10-10 on the clock. Yep.
it's crazy.
Yep. Mirror,
Wow,
mirror, mirror, mirror.
that
So,
judge called him a charlatan.
huh?
That judge called him a charlatan.
Yeah, sure did. Like it was a waste of time to had his case come in his court.
Yeah, he was mad
But
about it very
he
much.
had right, 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 right. But it's just very unfortunate, and there's a lot of players here, and it just gets deeper and deeper. I can go even more deeper, but for the sake of time, I think we gotta the gist um,
Yeah,
of it, you know, pretty much. And I'm sure
it's
this is not over. This is not over.
maybe because people got more questions.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
And too, if you think about it, he did bring up the his mom and the activism too, and him fighting for him
Justice.
trying to be in that lane. So maybe he was also trying to veer into a more activist lane too.
Hmm.
But yeah,
And just my opinion, I feel like the brother got bad advice.
yeah,
I think whoever he was around say, "Yeah, man, you know, you could do this." And somebody was in his ear, you know, and his ego maybe got the best of him. You know, started off one way, simple, simple. Get assaulted, report it. You know, eventually it'll go away. But
They do stupid stuff in Hollywood, and I look, Imma throw this sign up as I say this, he is light skinned, I'm just saying. All light skinned men are bad, but I'm just saying, light skinned males be on the deep end sometime. I'm saying, no disrespect to Jesse. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't feel no type of way about him. I don't say throw him away or nothing. I mean, people
Mhm.
do stupid stuff, and they be on the foolish tip, and
Yeah.
I do believe he didn't, you know want it to go this far. I'm
Mm.
sure he won't do no shit like this again, though.
Oh no. And the thing about it, Raquel, so many people do this. They concoct these stories and things,
Sure.
not just Hollywood, life in general, right? And everybody has sometimes ulterior motive. Okay, it sounds good in the beginning, but one thing leads to another, and next thing you know, you're like, damn,
Yeah.
caught up, caught up.
Yeah. Caught up.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep. It's like, if people didn't make stuff up, the expression tell a couple of lies and go home wouldn't be a thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I know, but there's so much, that's hidden, so much that's behind the scenes, and when it becomes in public opinion, things go left, right, up, down, all the way around. Okay,
For sure.
so that's just my take on it with the reading of Terrell. I thought that was very interesting on what it uncovered and kind of saw behind a curtain a little bit, and then go all the way. Didn't take the
Mhm.
cover all the way out. That was just a peek. And
Yeah.
yeah,
And probably for good reason, though, if you think
yeah,
about it.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
I I do want to let y'all know that Christine is a channeler. So the fact that she wasn't all the way knee deep into the channel, that's definitely for her protection. Yeah. Everything we don't need to dive in knee deep in, or sometimes it is timing too.
Hmm.
Oh, so yeah, I mean, I believe that you got the job done. And honestly, this was great. If you want to do this again, let me know, because this was great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. Sure, sure, sure. Most
Yeah,
definitely. We'll collaborate again. Definitely.
yeah, yeah. Well, y'all, let us know what you think in the comments. Again, check out Christine, follow her. Um, she's great. She's great. You need her services, she will hook you up. But you're gonna have to pay though. It ain't free.
Yeah,
It
get
will
in
be
touch with me.
well worth
I'm
the money.
aquamoon71 at gmail.com for inquiries about my services. I'll be happy to discuss. Look forward to it.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you like, share this broadcast. Tell us what you think. Light up the comments. If not, just let us know where you're from listening. We appreciate you for tapping into Rocky Road TV. I want to thank Christine for joining the broadcast tonight.
My
Um,
pleasure. My pleasure.
yes, it was wonderful. I really appreciate it. And we are going to sign off, you guys. All right.
All right, everyone. Have a good one.
All right.